A theme for this workshop, there are three things we are trying to include. One is building resilience, right? It's a COVID time, business is down. Some of us are pure coaches, some of us are consultant and coaches, some of us are facilitator, coach, and consultant. We are locked up at home. So we as a coach also need to build resilience. And that some of us are active doing our coaching. So that is kind of like reflecting into the way you are present during coaching. And how can we build a resilience and improve our coaching presence through use of yoga? That's the Tridev combination we got for today's session. And I'm very glad and honored to um, invite today's speaker. Lata is already here. So Lata, hearty welcome. So speaker for today's session is Lata Gupta. She's herself is ACC. So I'm going to have a brief introduction before I hand over to Lata. Founder of OD Mantra, she has invested a good amount of time in corporate and currently director of Anand Yoga School of India. Slightly detailed introduction about Lata, founder of OD Mantra, a boutique organization in LNOD. She has invested 26 years in corporate at director and top management positions. Education-wise or certification-wise, she has ACC from ICF, Reflector Big Five Master Practitioner. She got Value Innovation Certificate from INSEAD France, MBA HR from XISS Ranchi, and she's passionate about yoga. And last para reads what she has done in yoga, an accredited yoga teacher with Yoga Alliance International, Yoga Alliance Continuing Education Provider, YACEP, and Expanding Light California and Yoga Adjustment and Anatomy. There is a lot more in her CV, but I'll leave it to her to share with us. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. And Lata, I'm going to invite you to share your screen, and welcome to Pune chapter. And all over to you. The stage is yours. Friends, the guideline is Lata is going to cover the topic around next 50 to 60 minutes. We'll take a quick bio break, and then we'll have a Q&A, and then we'll wrap up the session. Yeah, max by 7, we'll be at our back to our. Yeah, Lata, welcome again, and over to you.
Thank you so much, and namaste. Warm welcome to all of you. I'm very grateful to ICF Pune, particularly Jayashree and Vivek, who helped me curate the session for ICF Pune. And then to open it up nationally was even a bigger delight. And I was just enjoying the chatter and the bright conversations among friends. And it's so warming in these times to be in this kind of a company. So really looking forward to a fun session together. And thank you, Vivek, for that introduction. And my journey with yoga and meditation began about 2 decades ago, and I've been a serious meditator for nearly 20 years now. And I followed different traditions, and the path I now follow, like Vivek said, there is the Ananda Yoga School of India. It's based on the teachings of Paramahansa Yogananda. And I also serve as the director of that school. It's an international chain of schools. And I will be sharing with you today is Ananda Yoga, all in a very secular framework, so that we are very mindful of everyone's path, and we are able to get a good experience of yoga beyond the physical. So that's really what I would like to achieve from this session today, and I hope you have fun. So let's just take a moment to arrive. And for this, I would ask you all to just sit upright on your chair, away from the back of the chair. The spine is nice and tall. And feel your feet firmly on the ground. And you can place your palms maybe facing upwards at the junction of the thigh and abdomen. And if you feel comfortable, you could close your eyes, or you could just gaze down on the floor or look up, whatever works for you today. Let's take a moment to just watch our breath. How is your breath today? Is it deep? Do you feel relaxed? Can you hear your heartbeat? Just taking a moment to tune into the body. And then the mind. Watching the breath and letting go of all thoughts. Just inhaling some relaxation with each in breath and exhaling tensions with, with each out breath. Letting go of all thoughts of what's happened right up till this moment when we came here and what's going to happen afterwards. Let's just center ourselves and be in the now. Here we are, feeling our being on the chair. And just tuning into the sound of this gong. And softly opening your eyes. It was a short centering practice. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll just take a moment to share the screen. Here we are. So, our topic today is deepening coaching presence with resilience. And so, there are two elements to it. One is being present, and the other is how we build our resilience. And like Vivek mentioned, this is a difficult time for all of us, uh, both in our practice as well as for our clients who come to us maybe with a lot of anxiety, a lot of uncertainty. Maybe there are businesses that are going through a very hard time. And when I talk to my friends in the industry, they talk about how hard it is in terms of having to let go of large number of people across the globe. So yeah, I think we don't need to go into that whole list of doom that is happening, but here we are. This is where we are. So if we just look at how we are living day by day, it is the nature of the mind to wander. Even as we are here and as we were doing this little practice of taking a moment to arrive, the mind was wandering, and there's big debate on how much the mind wanders. And there's research to say that about 20,000 thoughts a day feel safe, but it could go up to 60,000 and more. And there is a lot of debate on that number. But whatever it is tens of thousands of thoughts that cross our mind. And that puts a certain kind of rhythm to our whole being. So it's not just in the mind, it also affects our entire selves. And if we just look at, what is expected of us as coaches, yeah, we need to be open, we need to be grounded, we need to be fully present for our clients, we need to be observant, empathetic, curious, and be in a place of not having answers. Now, in the normal times, this was a very easy space to step into. But what we are experiencing today, I think it's challenging. And the mind could wander anywhere from, how do I get my grocery in, to, what are the business questions, how do I get my bills paid, to, enjoying nature and having a good cup of chai and watching a sunrise or a sunset. It's a whole range that is possible right there. But yeah, we live with this reality of the mind wandering all the time. And in many ancient Eastern traditions, in the meditation parlance, there is this reference of the monkeying mind. So the mind is like a monkey in a jungle which jumps from one branch to the other and chatters around. And that's exactly how our mind is at any given point of time, because this constant hum inside of us. And yet we are expected to control our emotions and stay very present and work with the emotions of our clients. And that is a space where we have to be in a place of giving and creating space for silence, for pause, for reflection. That's what encapsulates being present as a coach. And that's a lot of juggling to do just as we go through these extraordinarily difficult times. So I was just looking at, what are some of the holes in our attention bucket? And if you just reflected for a moment and said, what are the things that draw my attention away? I put up some common ones. which are here, and we can go through this, but just take a moment to pause, reflect, and see what are the things that drain your attention away, which pulls you away from what you need to do in a moment, or where you need to be present and focused. Maybe you could chat and type in some of these on the chat window too. That's an option.
Lata, hi, Vivek here.
Hi, Vivek.
So there is a request from member if you could increase your volume bit. I think they are unable to hear you, some people.
Okay.
Yeah, slightly.
Let me just see if I can. I think this is the maximum volume.
If you're using headphone, is there a setting there?
Is it better now?
Oh yeah, this is better.
All right. Thanks for that. Sorry.
Yeah.
I should have thought about
Anu, can you hear now? Anu and Kalpesh?
Yes, this is
better, but still not too clear.
Okay.
We can hear her clearly. Maybe it's the network
Amazon.
issue.
Some of you can hear clearly. Okay.
Okay.
Maybe it's a local internet issue.
Okay.
But I did have the original site.
This is better. Yeah. So there are a lot of responses in chat box for you as well, Lata. If you want me or Kalpesh to read, let us know.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Kalpesh, you want to go ahead?
Sure, just a moment, Vivek. We have changing expectations from people around multitasking, no social interaction, laundry, dishes, everything actually. Feeling restricted, and yeah, miss the social interaction. And Anirudh has mentioned suspicion.
Yeah, there's a faint suspicion all the time. What's going to happen next?
I like the last one, WhatsApp overload, Shripad says.
True. There's so much going on. And yeah, I found some of these to be the top distractors. So there was doom scrolling. And I think doom scrolling is something that many of us indulge in. Okay, so what are the death tolls looking like, and how exactly did the attack happen? And what it does is it takes us into a space of anxiety if you're not able to handle it. There are people who handle it absolutely cool, and it could be fine for them. But for those of us who feel sensitive about it, this is something to be aware of, that how much of this bad news do we want to be tuned into? Chronic multitasking. I mean, you're doing the dishes, you're doing the assignments, and then you're present for the children, the brats running around all the time. So there's a lot going on. And like someone mentioned, there is also screen fatigue. Yeah. So you're constantly on the screen and having to listen intently and be very present. And that can be quite tiring. So at this point, I would like to do just one simple exercise, or a couple of them, that could give you some relief from screen fatigue. Yeah. So Kalpesh, maybe you could make me the presenter or turn on the spotlight. Then I could be on a bigger screen. Thank you for that. So
Vivek, you'll need to do that. I think everybody will need to do it on their screen where they can click on the gallery view. Yeah,
I've done it.
In that, Lata.
All right. Yeah, perfect. Thanks.
I've done it.
Yeah. So this is a very simple exercise, but over 100 years old. And it is called skull tapping. It's excellent for the memory. So it improves your memory, and at the same time gives you relief when you're having to jump from one screen event to another. So just make a fist, and with the knuckles tap your skull. Yeah, everywhere, particularly the frontal lobes. And you can close your eyes as well. And yeah, feel free to knock hard. Don't injure yourself. Also at the back. Do this a few times. And relax. And the next one is a nice head massage, yeah, scalp massage. So you open up your fingers and just move the scalp front to back. And particularly this area, the executive center, the prefrontal cortex, It's a good one to massage. And then you could work your way up. Give a nice massage at the back as well. Moving the scalp so you can actually feel the skin move, so it's not moving the fingers so much. And then just sit for a moment, closing your eyes. Tune into how that feels for you. And you can softly open your eyes. So that was a little couple of easy tricks to practice between sessions, between meetings when you're having a overdose of screen time. And what it does is it just the mind is always listening to what you're trying to do. So here is an intention to relax, and you're following it up with some touches, and that's how you would most probably feel. And there's no harm in doing it as many times as you want. So feel free to do it as often as you need to. So yeah, so I think we just have a sense of what's taking our attention away. And the real challenge for us is how can we be in the now? How can we keep ourselves in the now? And I'd like to share a little story with you. This is a story by Tolstoy, and a very old story, but I thought it was apt for us. So there lived this king who wanted to be efficient. And he was a good king. He had a good law kingdom and enough wealth around. It was peaceful times, and his folks were very fond of him. And then he said, all this is great, but I want to be more efficient. And there were three questions that came to the king. What is the best time to do a task? Who is the most important person to listen to? And what is the most important thing to do? And he was boiling with these three questions. And he said, if I can get the answer to these three, then I think I can take this whole kingdom to a whole new level. So he, like kings do, announced a contest and said that people who had the right answer would be awarded a princely sum. And so people started attempting at it, and he got all kinds of responses. There were people, he said, you should plan every day, an hour and minute, and stick to the plan, and that would be the best time to do something. And then the best person to listen to would be your minister or a magician or a spiritual teacher, a hermit. These could be possibilities. And people had ideas about what would be the most important thing to do as well. And they said prayer is the most important thing to do. And others said the most important thing to do is relax and have a good time, and maybe have some enjoyment. And the king wasn't feeling happy with any of these answers. A kind of restlessness was keeping him very disturbed. And then he heard of this hermit who lived up the mountain in the forest nearby. And that hermit was a very simple hermit, like hermits are. And he had this thing that he only liked to interact with common folks. So he did not like to meet the rich and the powerful. He was there for the commoners. So the king said, but I know that this man is a wise man and he will have the answer. So I'm going to disguise myself and go there. So one day the king went with his small entourage close to the hill where the hermit lived. He left his people behind, and just a couple of his bodyguards and him walked close to the hut of this man. And then he left the bodyguards behind, and he was dressed in very simple layman clothes as a disguise. And he came to the hermit, and he just introduced himself saying, I've been struggling with these three questions, and these are the three questions that I have. What is the best time to do a task? Who's the most important person to listen to? And what is the most important thing to do? And the hermit was plowing his little patch of land. And he continued to do that. And the king could see that the hermit was exhausted. Each plow that he put into the earth, he took a deep sigh. So he kind of felt, hey, this old man is doing this and I'm young and able. Maybe I should help him. And the hermit gladly, when he asked, gave him the plow. And the king plowed for almost an hour. And he wasn't used to doing this labor, but he kind of enjoyed it, applying himself physically, connecting with the earth. But then he said, now it's kind of getting evening and I need to go back. So he said to the sage, you know, I have these three questions. And the sage didn't answer. So he went on plowing for a couple of hours more. And by then it was sundown. And he again said, what is the best time to do a task? And what is the most important person to listen to? And what is the most important thing to do? Just as he was saying this, the hermit pointed him in the direction of a man who was running towards him. He was wearing a white robe and he was crying and shrieking in pain. So quickly, the king and the hermit rushed to him, and they saw that he had a deep gash in his stomach. He had been stabbed, looked like, and the man was bleeding profusely. So, very quickly, then the hermit and the king applied some bandages to him. They had to throw away one bandage after the other because it was soaking in blood. And then finally, they got to a point where they could get the bleeding under control. And the man asked for a glass of water, and then they put the man down on the bed inside the hut, and he dozed off to sleep. When all of this happened, the king was a bit overwhelmed by what he saw, and he saw that it was also dark and too late to go back. So just he lay down on the floor near the injured man's bed, and before you know, he dozed off. And then in the morning, he heard the chirping of the birds and he opened his eyes. He couldn't orient himself for a while. Where am I? But then very quickly, he found himself and he saw that this man was trying to sit up and he was apologizing profusely to the king. And the king said to him, why are you apologizing to me? You haven't done anything wrong. And he said, well, you don't know, but you had got my brother killed and confiscated all our property. And so I wanted to get back at you. And I heard that you're visiting the hermit. And so I came into the jungle hiding and wanted to attack you when I would get you by yourself. But your guard on the way saw me and he stabbed me. I somehow managed to free myself from there and ran in here. And the king was quite taken aback by what he heard. And he said, I am so sorry that you had to go through this. And he said, please don't apologize. I'm going to put all the property back in your hands and also make sure that the royal physician attends to your wound. So all of this discussion happened. And then slowly the king again thought, I must go back. So again, one last time, he went to the hermit and asked the three questions. And the hermit said to him that you're still asking these questions, and I will now have to put things in perspective for you. So, what is the best time to do a task? He said, now is the best time to do a task. If you hadn't been tilling that land with me, you would have gone down and got killed by that man. What is the most important person to listen to? He said that most important person to listen to is the person in front of you. And here was this injured man, and you did your best for him, and you got an opportunity to solve a long standing dispute, and you converted an enemy into a friend, and you did a good deed, which is going to bring you good karma. And what is the most important thing to do? He said, the most important thing to do is to be fully present and attentive when you are doing what you're doing. And I hope these are the lessons that you will carry back with you. And the king reflected and he saw great merit in what the hermit said. He was very satisfied and he took the man along with him. And like he promised, he did what he had to do. But the king was a changed man. And I thought this story from Tolstoy is hugely powerful for us as coaches. Much as there is so much anxiety in the world and all of these challenges which are tugging at us all the moment, at all times, the real thing we need to do is to do the task in front of us, be in the now. But what constantly happens is the mind is going into the past or into the future. And when that happens, we lose track of the now. And being present is all about being in that moment, fully present with yourself, with the situations around you. And that's where we want to be as coaches, because coaching is that space where a lot is at stake, both for the coachee and for the coach, in terms of the sheer potential. And I don't need to elaborate on this for you anymore because you all know about it. And so, being in the now, I'm going to guide you through a little exercise to do that. Yeah. So, being in the now, I mean, if we just take a moment to look back into our minds, what's going on? Yeah, thoughts start coming up. But there are little things that we can do to just catch us in those moments and ground ourselves. And so here is the little practice that we can do to ground ourselves. And it's about being connected with ourselves, being comfortable in where we are in that moment. It's about staying rooted, almost like you can visualize a big tree with its trunk and supporting it and the roots going deep. And yet, there is a certain awareness and alertness. It's not a passive process. So here's what we are going to do. I would urge you to just inhale and tense your whole body with an inhalation. Tense the body, tense and vibrate. Exhale and relax. Now we'll do this 2 more times. The first time we were just trying to get a hang of it. The next time when you do it, consciously as you inhale and tense, gather all your tensions and worries. And as you exhale, imagine that you're equalizing all the tensions and creating a flow of calm energy inside your being. So let's do that together. Inhale, tense. Exhale and relax. Deep breath. And one last time. Inhale, tense. Exhale and relax. And now you can just close your eyes. Feel yourself firmly rooted, feet on the ground, body is on the chair. Relax your shoulders. You can just walk your shoulders away from your ears. The chest is open. And relax the abdomen. And we're going to do 3 rounds of even count breathing. I'll guide you through this. So you inhale to the count of 6, hold to the count of 6, and exhale to the count of 6. And you can keep your gaze either at the point between the eyebrows behind closed eyes, or just open eyes looking upwards. Closed is better though. Inhale, hold, exhale. Inhale, hold, exhale. Inhale, hold, exhale. And just take a moment to feel completely rooted into the earth. Feeling your heart open and your mind calm. Now take a deep in breath and exhale out 3 times. And you can softly open your eyes. That's a simple grounding practice that you could practice anytime you just need to center yourself Sometimes there's so much going on that the mind is in a loop. And here is something which can just bring you back to your own center. And in many ways, the center of our being is our heart, which is also the seat of many emotions. So, in this process, you're also relaxing your breath, and the breath and the mind are connected. And you would have noticed this, that when you get angry, your breath is very short and irregular. And when you're happy, the breath is very relaxed. And the body kind of mirrors that. So, when you're feeling happy, you're like up and about, and it's an in breath. Nobody ever says when they're happy. And when you feel sad, you don't say, it's the other way around. So the body kind of mirrors the energy and the emotions. And therefore, the breath has a great role in grounding us in our practices. And with that, let's move to the subject of resilience. Yeah. So I think we are amongst coaches here. You're all well read on these topics. And I was just trying to look at, what would resilience mean to us? So there's a lot of academic research that has happened in the space of resilience. Initially, it was to do more with children and people in the forces and with youth. But now there are a lot of longitudinal studies happening over a period of time. And if I had to pick a summary of what is resilience, then it is not just about being hardy and facing everything, but it is about bouncing back and then thriving there. So those bouncing back and thriving, I thought, were two very important elements of resilience. And uh, it's about standing unshaken in the midst of crashing worlds, and that's what we are going through. Or at one level, there is a health crisis, there are political crises, the stock markets have fallen, there's a financial meltdown in the offing. So a whole lot is happening. Our worlds are crashing. And here we are standing in the midst of it. But how can we armor ourselves up? Well, resilience is a quality that helps us just do that. And it's also about acceptance. All the studies on resilience have said that there are two or three very essential ingredients to displaying and living resilience. So, one is about accepting it rather than being in denial. So, keeping our minds open and even. And when I say even, what I mean is, you know, there are ups and downs that keep happening. In times of crisis, maybe the ups are not so much, but the downs are way down. Now, we don't want to bounce around in those same rhythms. If we try to stay centered and calm, then the ups and downs are more even for us. So that's something that we could keep in mind. Can I be even minded in these moments of trial? Finding meaning and living for that purpose is a great addition to your being resilient. So, there are two choices we can make. We can say, oh, for me, this has happened to me. This is the worst that has happened to me, and just go into a depression. Or see that, hey, wait a moment, what is the lesson that I need to learn here? And live for that meaning. And again, it's about this period of setback. How can I harvest some of the lessons I'm learning there? And in my own life, I left the corporate world, a very comfortable job, probably with the benefit of hindsight, which is always 6 by 6. It was not the best time to do it, to start my own consulting company in the beginning of the year, and just a couple of months into it, here we are. But I found that business is still coming, and maybe it's not as great as it could have been, but I'm grateful for what I have. So, when we keep our minds open, things come to us. There is a divine abundance that is at play, and it is about being open to it in the moment. And the other important thing is to be inventive, to be creative, to see how can I apply myself differently in this situation? How can I transform myself? And the other element is self care, and we'll come to it in a little bit more detail. But that's a little bit of context of what resilience can be to us. And I found this Harvard model by Joan Mendes and Whitney Johnson, which talks about the S curves. And the S curves are very, very representative of how our lives evolve. It's not just life, it's any situation. So businesses go through S curves, we go through S curves, and life at large goes through an S curve. And what happens in an S curve is there is a learning curve, and there is a time when it peaks, and there is great joy there. And then there is a period of decline. And the crucial hack there is that before the decline starts to happen, you need to hop on to the next S curve. And that is what will keep your energy and spirits up and keep you inventive and creative and keep that purpose and meaning going for you. Algorithmically, they say that about 7-year cycles is what it goes through. But I think the most important thing that for me in this whole process is this little piece here, where we should not be scared of jumping from one curve to the next, because if you jump off the curve, then what happens is a decline. So it's always important to ride these S curves as they come along in life. So I thought that was a great way to look at it. Where am I on the curve? And what for me is on the decline stage? What do I need to stop doing? And what are some of the things that I need to tune into more, which can be a new beginning for me and make hay there. So yeah, that's a little bit about this whole subject of resilience. And there's a lot that we can do with resilience. And I found in my life that yoga and meditation have a lot to offer in this space. Oftentimes, yoga is understood as a physical practice and a practice that keeps the body fit, and we tune into those aspects. But actually, right from the time of Patanjali, the teachings have been that the purpose of yoga is to take you to higher realms of realization. And it works beautifully with the mind, and it works beautifully for you to reach your own highest potential. So we want to explore this space very briefly today. And my promise to Jayashree was we will do chair yoga today, because most of us spend our time on the chair mostly. So my only piece of equipment today is going to be the chair on which we spend most of our time. But before we jump into that practice, I really liked this quote by Viktor Frankl, and you all know him from the whole concentration camp stories and man's search for meaning. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. And if we can just choose to make those right choices and choose to respond and not react, yoga and meditation offer great tools in that space. So physical tension typically reinforces itself in mental and emotional tension, and vice versa. So if you are mentally and emotionally tensed, you will find that physically also you experience tension. And there are spaces in the body where tension typically tends to settle down. Some of those spaces I would just like to call out for you. One is the head, and headaches are a very easily seen symptom of tension. Another is in the neck, and oftentimes it comes with a stiff neck, and sometimes there is damage in the cervical region of the spine. Shoulders is another place where a lot of tension accumulates. And then the heart and the chest and the lungs are places where tension accumulates. Then there is the stomach, the gut. Lot of problems like acidity, for example, is a manifestation of tension and holding on to that tension there. Another space is behind the knees. So these are all places where you could potentially experience tension. And a good yoga practice would help you relax there. And right in the midst of your day, so you don't have to do the whole routine at one go, you could choose to, pick and do pieces that work for you on a given day. So while I just set up a little bit by moving the camera back, I would urge you to take a moment to just reflect on where in your body do you generally experience tensions.
Lata, hi, Vivek here. Just
Yeah.
to let you know, the information which you had shared with us, we have sent to participants about clothing and seating.
Yes.
At any moment you would like to confirm, please reconfirm.
Yeah, I hope you have some fresh air coming into the room. And it's good. I mean, if you're in pajamas, that's great. Track pants work well too. But wear something loose so that you can really stretch yourself out. And grab a couple of cushions so that you can use that too for your practice. And with that, I'm going to start offering some practices for you. So the first one we're going to do is for the neck. So for the neck, for the neck, what I would recommend is that, you take your right hand up, you can place the left hand behind, and just
Yeah, we can see you, Lata.
yeah, just take a stretch on the neck. Yeah, so stretch your neck to the right side. Be gentle with your neck. You can hold it above the ears and just stretch your neck. And stay there and take deep 3 sets of inhalations and exhalations. Relaxing the shoulders, making sure your spine is nice and tall. And slowly come back. Hopefully you feel a little bit of difference between your left and right. And now we'll balance it on the other side. Take your right hand back, the left hand up. You can hold close to the ears and just stretch the neck tall, keeping the spine straight and just stretching the neck. Almost like the weight of the head is resting on the arm. And take deep 3 sets of breaths here. Inhale and exhale. And slowly come back. So what we did in effect was to give a nice stretch to the neck. And the next one is going to be an 8 rotation for the neck. So I'll demonstrate for you. Okay, so let's do this 3 times. Just rotating your neck. You can change direction also if you want. Great. So that's a good routine because we're on these screens, computer screens, mobile screens, and the neck is always forward. So it's also good to keep checking on yourself. Is my neck too much forward? So do I need to align it back with the spine? That'll give you a lot of relief. Now, the other thing we're going to do is take the chin to the chest and pull the head back as you inhale and bring it down as you exhale. I'll demonstrate for you. So the inhale and exhale is important, and it has to be done with tension. So it's not just a flipping of the neck back and down. Do it very consciously. Stick your chin to the chest, if you can, or wherever it goes. Inhale with tension. You can almost lift your chin up. Exhale back, and 2 more times. And relax. So that's some neck work that we did. Now we're going to open the heart and the chest, which is where a lot of emotions tend to stay. So for this, I'm going to interlock my fingers and take a moment here to center myself in the heart and exhale, stretching out. And then inhale up. So all the way up. And then exhale and release the hands to the back.
Lata, sorry, Vivek, I think your video is frozen. So
what happened there?
Yeah, let me just
now it is moving, right?
Okay. It's moving now?
Okay, I think we just got messages saying they can't see you.
Yeah, we couldn't earlier, but now it's fine.
Okay.
Now it's fine.
Probably
All right.
It will not come up on my screen, but yeah, maybe.
And now the next one's going to be a nice stretch. So just holding the back of your chair firmly and opening up from the chest, lifting the heart up and gently tipping your neck back. Don't drop the neck, just keep it active. And roll your shoulder blades
Lata, you may want to wait
back together.
Wait for 2 minutes, please. I think some people have given message. Your video is not up. Let's hold on for 2 minutes, please.
Okay.
Some people can't see your video, and yeah, now it's up. Kalpesh, can you see her?
Yes, it is up now.
Yeah.
Can hear.
Lata, can we repeat the chest wala?
Yeah, I'll do that. So, so we'll do it together again one more time.
The
Okay?
chest one, yeah.
Yeah. Inhale. Exhale. Stretching out. So take your arms away from the shoulders as much as you can. Inhale up. Lengthening the spine. Exhale. And just hold at the back of your chair and open the chest. The neck is a little bit tilting towards the back, but don't drop your neck. And keep breathing here. 2 breaths. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale peace. Exhale tensions. And slowly relax. So this is a good heart opening routine that you could practice. And now I'm going to ask you to stand up.
Lata, let's take a pause. Some people are typing in now. There is voice is gone, and for some people it's frozen. So,
Okay.
do you want to test your mic? What you did in the beginning of the session?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but Sunil is saying the voice is gone for him. For
Okay.
me, the video is frozen.
Yeah, so I think Vivek, for me, for example, the voice was working, the video was frozen. The video just started working now after almost 5-7 minutes.
I'm sorry about this. I don't know
Network.
what's
Now
going
it's
on.
working both. Yeah.
Yeah, now it's working both.
Okay.
Aparna, can you hear and see both? I'm just taking from a couple of volunteers.
Yes, I can.
Both?
Right now, yes. But I couldn't, both the exercises I couldn't see. I was going by what Akhil and Poonam were doing because their videos were on.
Okay. Fair enough. Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Hear and see now. Exercise could not see. Sanjeevani name. Okay. Continue, please.
Okay. And now I was urging you to stand up. Okay. And what we're going to do is marching in place. Okay. So this is a brisk walk. So you can all stand up, and it's an effortless walk, but this is a full body exercise. And you can tell yourself, I'm awake and ready. Nice swinging arms, and the knees can come as high as it can. And relax. Okay, so just stand here for a moment, and this is the standing mountain pose, and it creates good awareness of the posture. So very powerful, simple as it is. And I work with affirmations because in Ananda Yoga, we believe that affirmations can help us reprogram certain mindsets and have great potential to hold our attention and uplift us from an awareness standpoint. So there'll be certain affirmations I'll call out, and you can just mentally repeat it and hold on to it so that you can be in the moment. So for Tadasana, you need to just make sure you're standing with your weight equally distributed on both the legs. We tend to stand on one or the other. So it's good to check. And you can just sway front and back to make sure that you feel centered. And then soften your knees. Relax your belly. Relax your shoulders. Relax your throat. Feel a sense of expansion in the throat. Relax your jaws, tongue, face. You could bring a gentle half smile to your face. That'll relax all the facial muscles. You can close your eyes and relax your eyes and your eyebrows. And affirm mentally, at the center of life's storms, I stand serene. At the center of life's storms, I stand serene. this is a great practice for resilience, and you can softly open your eyes. And I'm going to be showing you Vrikasana, which I think many of you know, but I'm going to do a modified chair version of the Vrikasana. So you can just stand beside the chair. And what you could do is get your feet up on the chair like this, okay? You need to check that it doesn't go way beyond the ankle. So make sure the distance is enough for the feet to be on the chair. And then the torso is facing forward. So this gives a nice opening here. And as you inhale, you could join your hands in Namaste on top, okay? And as you feel the balance, you could close your eyes and affirm mentally, I am calm, I am poised. I am calm, I am poised. Deep, easy breath. One more breath. Inhale, lengthen the hands up. Exhale, circle them down. And now, this time, we're going to stand on the other side of the chair to just balance the pose. I'll just cross over to the other side. And the process is the same. So you can place your feet on the chair. Make sure your ankles and knees are aligned. Torso is facing forward. And with an inhalation, circle the arms up. Exhale and relax the shoulders. Relax the shoulders. Open the heart. And you can close your eyes if you feel the balance and affirm mentally, I am calm. I am poised. I am calm. I am poised. One more breath. And lengthening the arms, circling them down. Next, we are going to do a pose for opening the sides. So for this one, this is called Ardha Chandrasana. You could just place yourself close to the chair, by the side of the chair, and then get your toes and heels together. Toes and heels together. I know you can't see my feet, but this is easy to do. And with an inhalation, rising up on the toes. And as you exhale, gently arch over to your left side. So you take your hip out to the right and the shoulders to the right, to the left, sorry. And the thumb is interlocked. And you're trying to open the side of the body while this side does not collapse, yeah? And take some deep, easy breaths. The gaze could be uplifted, looking at the ceiling, and affirm mentally, strength and courage, fill my body cells. Strength and courage, fill my body cells. Relax the shoulders. 2 more breaths. And with the next in breath, coming back to the center, circling the arms down. And taking a moment to feel that openness in the body, a sense of relaxation. It's also a great way of releasing fears, which typically tend to reside in the heart and this region of the body. Now we'll go over to the other side and balance it. So you just need to stand beside the chair so that you don't lose balance. In a regular yoga class, you would just stand anywhere in the middle of the room. But here we may be amongst beginners, so we're just being cautious. And palms facing forward, inhale, rising up on your toes. As you exhale, you could put the feet back on the floor. Remember to lengthen the spine and then gently arch like a half moon. Relax the shoulders, relax the knees, look upwards. Affirm mentally, strength and courage, fill my body cells. Strength and courage, fill my body cells. 2 more breaths. And slowly come back to center. Exhale and relax.
Lata, hi, Vivek here.
Yeah.
There's a request. Can we take a break, bio break, 5 minutes, or should we continue throughout?
No, we could take a break.
Yeah, so we can take a break, then you can continue session, and then we can do Q&A. Is that you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. Friends, there's a request on a quick of 5 minute bio break. So I'm just going to be with the time. I like a lot of questions and curiosity. So it's 6:12 in my clock here. So let's take a very quick 5 minute bio break. 6:17 we are back and we'll begin with Lata's session. Yeah, very quick bio break. No coffee, tea during yoga, right, Lata?
Well, I'm generous.
All right, we'll see you in 5 minutes, friends. Quickly. Bye.
Vivek, are you there?
Friends, please give thumbs up if you're back. So we know how many people are back. 5. Thank you. Priya, is your audio connection okay now?
Yes, it is, Vivek.
Good,
Thanks.
thanks. Yeah. Lata, we can begin, I guess, once you're ready.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Let's. All right.
One invitation is, the queries are if we could, the overall theme of resilience, presence, and yoga. Somewhere, if you could tie that in together towards the end as well, that would be great.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Yeah. Do you want to spotlight again?
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. Over to you.
Okay, so I can see that we're a bit short on time. And so what I'm going to do now is one practice of pranayam, a very short meditation, and then a very quick wrap up. So that should take us maximum about 10 minutes. It's not the best way to do it, but yeah, here we are. We need to condense in the time that we're able to put to it today. So I thought, what is one pranayam that can give you multiple benefits? And that's Nadi Shodhanam. So Nadi Shodhanam, as the name indicates, is great for cleansing the nadis, the nerve centers inside the body. And it's very, very powerful as a stress buster. So it purifies tensions, it calms the nerves, it soothes the mind, it improves your voice and can give you grace and poise, and improves wellness tremendously. So those are some of the benefits of Nadi Shodhanam. And this is done. So in yoga, there are certain mudras, and the mudras are ways of directing energy. Yeah, and pranayam is not just a breathing exercise, but guiding energy within our being. So we're going to do this with Vishnu Mudra. So your left palm can be at the junction of your
Can you
thigh
take your
and abdomen.
screen down? Sorry. We just not, yeah. Thank you.
So thanks for that, Vivek. You just need to get your hand in Vishnu Mudra, for which you get your little finger and ring finger together. The next two go down like this. And it looks like an V when you look at it. This is with the right hand. Close the right nostril. Inhale through the left. To a count of 6, I'll count for you. Inhale. Close and hold your breath. So close both nostrils, hold your breath. Release the right thumb and exhale through the right. Now this time, now that you've seen it, you can close your eyes for a deeper benefit, or you could watch, whatever works for you. Inhale through the right. Close and hold. Exhale through the left. Inhale through the left. Close and hold. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Close and hold. Exhale through the left. The last cycle, inhale through the left. Close and hold. Exhale through the right. Inhale through the right. Hold your breath. Exhale through the left. And you can release your hand. That was a short practice of Nadi Shodhanam. And if you are planning to adopt this process, you can go much further with this. You could inhale, lengthen the inhalations, double the holding time, and even increase the ratio of the exhalations. But it all is again linked to a lung capacity and what we are comfortable with. Practitioners do go to great lengths. People hold up to 16 or 24. But if you have any heart conditions, then, or hypertension, for example, cardiovascular issues, then it is not advisable to hold the breath for too long. So a count of 6 is very safe. Even 8 is fine. So that's a little bit on Nadi Shodhanam. And with that, we'll go into a guided practice of meditation. So sit upright, away from the back of your chair. Make sure your spine is nice and tall. You can close your eyes. There's nothing much to see. I'll just guide you through a brief practice. Relax your feet. Feel them firmly on the ground. Sometimes you can place a cushion there for comfort. Relax your calves. Consciously relax your knees. If you feel any tension there, send relaxation by kind of sending your breath there. Relax your thighs, the hips, the stomach and abdomen. Relax your fingers, wrist, elbows, arms, shoulders. Just walk them away from the ears, pulling the shoulder blades together so that the heart is nice and open. Relax your throat. Now relax your jaws and tongue, the lips and cheeks. Consciously relax your eyes and eyebrows. Start to notice your breath. Notice each inhalation and exhalation. If the mind wanders, bring it back to the breath. Mentally visualize yourself surrounded by light, as if you were in a bubble of light. And visualize your body and mind full of light from inside. And light to the heart and to the brain. Feel brightly lit from inside and outside. Now slowly bring yourself back into the room, feeling seated in the chair, totally grounded and present. Gently wriggle your toes and fingers. You can just rub your hands together as you open your eyes. And massage your feet. Do this about 3 times. With that, and our practice of meditation. So that was a little bit of a taster of what is possible. And I'd like to quickly share with you what are some of the fruits of meditation. And those of you who practice this would have experienced it abundantly at some point or the other. And like you saw, it doesn't take a whole lot, but yeah, it has to be a deeper relaxation and a longer duration to actually scientifically research proves that 12 minutes of meditation can tremendously change your being at many, many levels, physically, mentally, emotionally. So what does it give you? Here's a laundry list of things that can happen and much more. And what was more interesting for me was, what does it take away from you? So what happens when you meditate? What do you lose? And I thought that was an interesting list of things that we could do without, that can be lost in a practice of meditation. I'll just let you take a moment to go through that list. And I think what is important is from, we look at the whole subject that we had today, being in the present moment, building resilience, and looking at some practices which are physical, mental, emotional, that can be tools for us to build this. Yeah. So at the core of it, from all of the studies that I created, what is important is to get out of negative patterns. So the word resilience itself means taking a swerve to kind of get back on route. And to do that, you need to break some patterns. So it's a good thing to do for yourself. Self-reflect. What are some of the patterns that I get into? How can I detox myself from technology every once in a while? Maybe take a day off for yourself and say, I'm going to be off the cell phone and the laptop and all the screens, and see what that brings up for you. I tend to take a seclusion once in a while when I can, being in nature, and that recharges and refreshes me so much immensely. So I talk from experience. I go on silent retreats, I guide some of them, and that's a blissful experience. Take time out to read. Read what you like. Savor a cup of coffee or tea, chai time. Enjoy a meal in silence and engage your five senses as you do that. Can you feel the crunch? Can you sense the smell of the food? Can you taste it holistically? These are some things to look into. And devote some time to a favorite hobby. So self-care is a very, very important element of building both presence as well as resilience, because it pours into you energy that can help you revive, innovate, invent yourself. So a good exercise, a piece of homework to do is to come up with what is your resilience mantra. Mine is, at the center of life storms, I stand serene. And that's helped me in so many moments of difficulty to just get myself back together, to find that little moment where I can stop reacting and respond, take a breath. So find a resilience mantra that works for you, make it your own, and try practicing it and see what it can bring for you. So with that, I would like to leave you with this beautiful quote from Rudyard Kipling, the poem, If, that we all have come across, and the great wisdom there. If you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And which is more, you'll be a man, my son, or you'll be a woman, my girl. So with that, I'd like to thank each one of you, and particularly ICF Pune chapter, for giving me this opportunity. I enjoyed myself. Sorry about those little moments where you couldn't hear me or see me well enough. And with that, I'd like to hand it back.
Wow. Thank you, Lata. Claps, claps. I think typically after we attend a typical webinar, the head is heavy and we are about to sleep. I guess this is the first webinar where we are, kind of like still awake and, feeling fresh. Okay. Kalpesh, I'm going to take 10 minutes of Q&A before handing it over. Is that okay? Yeah. Okay. So friends, Lata, can we take questions? All right. So 6:30, friends, 10 minutes to you to ask questions to Lata. So 3 things: resilience, coaching presence, and yoga. Yoga predominantly. So we have invited Lata as a yoga expert. So over to you. Unmute yourself. Let me cancel the spotlight. So in your chat, on the top of the Zoom window, you can select there's something called a speaker's view and a metrics view, or gallery view. So you can choose gallery view so we can see you. You can choose to start your camera and unmute yourself. And if you have questions, me and Kalpesh are watching the chat. Feel free to ask questions.
So let me start with the first question with it.
Yeah.
Okay. So Lata, it was excellent. I think, well, I've heard about yoga and as a knowledge item of yoga that, how it helps. But I think the small bits of exercises that you did made a lot of difference, and I feel refreshed. How do we learn more, or, honestly, there are about 5 yoga classes which happens in my society, and I really do not know which one is somebody who really takes you to the experience that you're talking about. So how do you and where do you choose it from?
So, Kalpesh, thank you for that feedback. It helps me feel how you feel as you go through this process. So, different traditions. I mean, India is the land of yoga. It's just amazing how the Western world has adopted it. And as you gaze through the internet, you only find Westerners doing yoga more than Indians, which is a pity. But when you are to choose your kind of yoga that works for you, it's very important. Like in coaching, what is the purpose? What's the goal? So if it is a physical practice, for a lot of people it's a workout, and that is an important one too, because yoga has tremendous power as a physical exercise. Then some of these hatha yoga schools like Param Yoga, Iyengar, to name a few, many more, are great ones. But if you're looking for more, then what it can offer you is greater emotional and mental health and calmness and serenity and grace and poise and spiritual yoga. Then there are other traditions that do that. And this could be something for you to explore, that, you know, with the yoga school, what is it that you focus on? For example, Ananda Yoga, where I teach, I do a number of teacher training programs as well as open workshops, retreats, etc. Our focus is on spiritual awareness and lifting us to a state where we can be good at meditation. So Patanjali said that if you can sit still for 3 hours, that's when you've mastered asana, the practice of the hatha yoga postures. So that's a different aim. So you really need to see what works for you. But yeah, a little bit of shopping the counters and then picking the one.
Okay. Great. Thanks.
Lata, there's a question from Priya in the chat box. How does one start practicing meditation at a beginner level?
So, hey, Priya, we're old friends. And
I
meditation.
know. How are you doing, Lata? So
Great.
good to see you.
Yeah, likewise. So, you know, the meditation always, again, there's a whole world out there in terms of what you want. But a simple practice of watching the breath could be a great place to start. And it's a muscle. Like we build our resilience muscle, we need to build our meditation muscle. And it's about training the mind. So I would say start with a small practice of 2 to 5 minutes, because that's what our mind can initially hold. And distraction is something that comes very naturally to all of us. And never go to a point of boredom, because then you'll perpetually lose interest in meditation. So take a moment and have a focus. It could be, you know, just being with yourself, like some of the centering exercises that we did. That could be a great starting point, and then you build it up over a period of time.
Can I go?
Just a question.
Yes,
So if one starts with 2 to 5 minutes at a beginner level, for a coach, let's say, to practice consistently, what is the ideal timeline for practice when it comes to meditation?
Great question. So ideally, research proves that, I mean, it's again the Westerners who've done all the research on this. They say 12 minutes can give great benefits. So 12 minutes is a good starting point. But in my experience, I also teach meditation online. I have found that people struggle even with 2 minutes. You come with a lot of restlessness, which is where yoga helps to, you know, just calm the body down, and then you work inside. So from a workout, you go into a work in, and there it is important that you build it slowly. So I'll say, do few things and then do them well. And then as you are able to build it up, you go to the 12 minutes, but aim for 31 hour bliss is sitting there, and it'll be yours.
I have a question. Yeah. Lata, I'd like to know.
Thanks, Lata. I'll connect with you offline. Thank you so much.
Priya. Welcome.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, Aparna.
Okay. I'd like to know, can you combine your hatha yoga practices with the spiritual yoga you're talking about? Is it possible for you to combine both in a given day?
Yeah. There are people who come to my classes who also go to hatha yoga practices, because I say my yoga is a work-in, not a workout. And that's more for us to take care of ourselves and nurture ourselves for meditation. But it, of course, has a lot of physical benefits. You do lose weight, the skin does glow, but and you can do both.
So what makes you lose weight, Lata, again?
Not chair yoga.
Yeah, that was like the eye catcher there. Right.
Yeah, it also depends on what we eat. Yeah. Okay. So my guru used to say, with the fork and spoon, you can dig your grave. So a lot's got to do with what you eat.
Super. Any more questions, friends, before we move on to the next segment? We can take one more. Yeah, Akhil.
So Lata, I have this question that whenever we go for or try for a meditation on our own, right, it's a little difficult. Like you're a coach and you're trying to then focus on breathing. So are there any good apps or something which, which you would recommend where, we can practice 5 or 10 minutes to begin our day or maybe to end our day?
Yeah, Akhil, great question. And here's the thing, meditation, actually, the real purpose from the thousands of years is for us to experience ourselves and to uplift ourselves from a consciousness perspective. But when we're looking for benefits from a short practice, then app could give you that practice. And so, for example, Headspace, Calm, these are all well-known brands in the space of app meditation. When you study or you read about what happens there, I think the most important thing, Akhil, is will you remember to open the app every day? And I would say initially it is good to learn meditation from a teacher who can help you so that they understand your context. Contextualizing is very, very important, and get you to really taste what meditation is and the power it can have on your mind. Once you taste that, you can then be with an app and go there.
Sure. Okay. Sure. Thank you.
Super. Any final dying question? Who's desperate? If you don't ask question, you won't allow us to go ahead. All right. So I will see. I'm going to thank you, Lata. Oh, sorry. Sanjeevni, I think, has asked. Sanjeevni, you have a question? You would unmute yourself.
Yeah. So I have a question. Typically, they say you should do meditation in the Brahma Murta.
Yes.
But it is very difficult to get up at 4 in the morning every day and meditate.
देखो ब्रह्मा से मिलना है तो तपस्या लगेगा ना.
I know, but let's start small. I mean, aiming for Brahma Murta right from day one is a little difficult.
It took me 12 years to get to Brahma Murta. And many times checking the alarm clock, but once you do it, it becomes a part of the routine.
Yes. Okay.
And the reason we say Brahma Murta is because the world is quiet and silent, and it's easier to relax and meditate.
Yeah.
Great question, Sanjeevni. Thanks for that.
Sanjeevni, it's like this Robin Sharma's 5 o'clock club, right?
Yeah.
Or PV Sindhu getting a Brahma Murta for badminton practice. For
oh my God.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. So let me just share this. Alpesh, let me know if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can see the screen.
All right. So from all of us, thank you so much. Yeah, the e-flowers on your way. Lata, thank you so much. I think very nice session. So,
nice.
Yeah, very nice. Good class for all of you. From all of us, thank you so much.
Welcome.
And customizing this.
So much.
Friends, we have had Jayashi and I have had chat with her and customizing session. What is the need of the chapter? And she patiently heard us saying, that's what I will do. So thank you so much for customizing to our needs. That really means a lot to us. Thank you.